Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more, and all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
He's an old head.
Youngins are really starting to get on my damn nerves.
He's a purveyor of nonsense.
Yo, folks.
He's a Georgia high school coaching job influencer. His favorite Bible verse is Jesus wept. He's the man of constant sorrow, Chris Lamb.
Yeah.
To episode 8 of Sun Coaches Podcast, where today we will be discussing what you need to do as you venture into the world of sitting in a big chair. Are you ready to be a head coach? And of course, this is not the end all be all of what you need to do. This presentation was one that I gave last year at the FACA in Jacksonville. And I was out to speak down there, and the title of it was so you want to be a head coach. And I started it off with who's this guy, because most people, if you don't know who I am, which there's no reason for you to know who I am. I'm a nobody from nowhere that's never done anything. So I have probably more in common with 98% of the people that are sitting in the presentation or listening than most of the people you go to listen to at a clinic or anything else for that matter. So, I'd start off talking about that and what I do and how I am and what I talk about. But the first thing that I think you need to realize is, are you ready? And the simple answer is no. I'm 50 years old and I'm not ready. I've been a head coach twice, and first time at 28, second time at 35. And if I were to do it again at 50, the answer is still not ready. You think you're ready. You hope you're prepared, but you're really not ready because you just don't know. I mean, there's so many things that happen that there's no way as an assistant coach to be prepared. Now, if you're very fortunate to have a head coach that mentors you and takes you under his wing and shows you things and, pulls you off to the side and lets you do, then there are situations that you'll be exposed to that you will be aware of. But until you actually experience some of these situations, you're really not ready. You may think you're prepared, but you're not ready. I mean, this is one of those jobs and one of those situations where you just have to really experience it for you to understand what's going on, because there's so many things that happen every day that there is no playbook. There is no right way to do it. There's no way to handle it. There's no blueprint on this is what's going to happen. This is what you need to do. This is going to happen on a day-to-day basis. You're dealing with people, and that's going to change. It's going to be, you've got to be able to be fluid and flexible and things like that. The X's and O's aspect of being a head coach and really the running, setting up a practice plan and organizing all of that, anybody can do that. You can train a goat to do that. I mean, that's not real difficult. I mean, you're going to do what you do. If you write a lesson plan, you can write a practice plan. I mean, that's not hard. If you can organize a group, if you can coordinate an offense, you can coordinate a staff. That's not difficult. What's difficult is dealing with parents, raising money, dealing with the whole academic staff that you have to deal with, dealing with administration, dealing with upper level board people, dealing with officials, coordinating officials, um, bus transportation, your state organizations, other coaches getting ready for whatever, calendars, doctors, setting up physicals, things like that. All of that's difficult, very difficult. So, you know, believing or thinking or wondering if you are ready, the fact of the matter is you're probably not ready. I mean, it's it's hard. It's not easy. If it was easy, um, more people would do it, and it wouldn't be, you wouldn't have 37 job openings still, you know, a month after they come open. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. So what you can do is you can be prepared, and the best way to do that is to have a plan. I was given a list years ago, like 25 years ago, and I still got it, and it just went over every possible scenario, and you could fill it in as you went along, all the way, from pregame meal to who the team captains were going to be to the team chaplain, who was driving bus one, where were you going to set up on the sideline, game day, practice plan. It was just a checklist basically, and it probably had 150 things on it. And some things were just static. I mean, they were not going to change. You could put them on there, and year after year, you'd use the same thing. I mean, it was going to be what it was going to be. So there are things you can do to prepare, and you've got to prepare to, if this is what you're going to do. You got to think about it and make sure you have a plan. Um, Now, once you decide that this is what you're going to do, if you're going to pursue one of these head coach jobs, I hope that you have done your research and you've networked. Whether it's the good old boy system, frat brothers, or professional organizations, you need to belong to one of these groups. Used to people would complain, they'd bitch and moan about, oh, the only reason he got this job is because he's in the good old boy system. Well, that could be true. Or, oh, he just got that job because he's a Q or he's a Kappa or, his frat brother, he's going to hire his frat brothers. Well, yeah, I've thought about this on some other episodes. You're going to hire people you're comfortable with. I mean, that's just a fact of life. And if that's going to make you butthurt, then, this probably isn't for you, because we're going to take care of our own. I mean, that's just the way it is. But you better get out there and network. You better have some people that can help you as you pursue these head coach jobs. And used to be, knowing head coaches was what you needed to do, because a lot of old head coaches, were administrators, and that's just not the case anymore. And now it's more so that you need to know administrators. Your network needs to include administration, because they're the ones that are going to make these decisions. College coaches are not going to hurt you either, because everybody likes to be able to say, oh, I talked to this guy, or oh, I talked to that guy. If you don't believe it, get on Twitter, get on Instagram. Watch all these jokers take pictures with head coaches that come in there. Grown men sitting there taking pictures, because it gives them, kids like seeing that stuff. Parents like seeing that stuff. You can't just say on there that Coach Okie Dokie came by today from Ookie Bookie University to look at our kids. Oh, no. You got to have a picture with your arms wrapped all up on each other. And this dude don't know you from Adam's house cat. Don't have no idea. He ain't there to see you anyway. But we got to get our picture taken with him. That's okay. That's a good thing. Because if you form a relationship with this guy, then he can help you down the road. He can make a phone call, and that administrator, who isn't a coach anymore, will probably have his skirt blown up a whole lot more, being able to walk around with his chest poked out saying, oh, Mike Norvell called me today on behalf of candidate X, And we need to take a look at this guy because, if he says he's good, he must be good. Former bosses, you need to make sure that you don't leave any situation in a bad situation, because they're going to call the guy that you worked for before, whether it was 1 ago or 12 ago, and they're going to call them. You need to give them a heads up if you're going to look for a head coach job. They can really help you, or they can really hurt you. Most of the time, I would like to hope and pray and think that they're going to try to help you, but you never know. I mean, some guys, they may inadvertently say something that throws off, but you may want to reach out to these guys and let them know, hey, I'm looking for, I'm up for this job. They're probably going to give you a call. I appreciate any help you can give me. But the only way you can do this is if you left on good terms. If you left your former situation, whether it was last week, last year, or 10 years ago, in good standing. And that's why it's so important to keep, those relationships strong.
Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. Victory Lane? Yeah, it's even better with Chumba by my side. Race to ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
And remain loyal to those people, because you never know when they're going to help you down the road. But the bottom line is, it's not what you know, but who you know. I mean, that's never going to change. And you can get as mad as, we look at college coaches and we look at all this other stuff and, high school coaches and even, at the high school realm, and you look and you're like, how'd that guy get that job? Well, probably because he knew somebody, probably because he knew somebody that could help him out. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's the way of the world. That's the way it works. And if you can't deal with that, if that's a problem for you, then this might not be for you. This might not be what you need to get into. This might be, might not be for you, because this is what you're gonna have to deal with these days. That's just the way of the world. It's the way it is. It's the way it goes. And if you don't like it, too bad. That's just knowing folks is what's going to help you down the road. And that's why relationships are so important. Next thing I would encourage you to do, well, drink water when you talk for a long time. That's important. So sorry about that. I would make sure that I choose wisely. You try to get a head coaching job when you're a young man, you can afford a mistake. Your first head coaching job, I was listening the other day on a podcast, Sirius XM, one of those big dog podcasts, and they were telling a story about how when Urban Meyer took his first head coaching job at Bowling Green, and he was talking to one of his mentors, and he said, "I don't think it's a good job." And his mentor said, "Well, of course it's not. If it was, they wouldn't be talking to you." Your first head coaching job, more than likely, is going to have to, if you're a younger guy, is probably not going to be a good job. You still need to choose wisely. You still need to make sure that you are not going to kill your career and your future endeavors, your future plans by the choice that you make. Because it could be really bad. It could go very, very poorly for you. How do you make these decisions? How do you choose wisely, you ask? Well, you better do your research. The guy before you was not an idiot. People don't just go places and forget how to coach. There might have been a reason that what went down went down. It's not always, you're not the smartest guy in the room. Not by a long shot. That guy before you wasn't necessarily, a bad football coach. Like Coach Thrower said, there's a whole lot more good mechanics than there are good shots out there. So you got to do your research, and you got to choose wisely. Are you going to be able to raise money there? Because that's important, especially this day and time. Do they have players? What's their middle school program look like? What's their administration look like? Are they supportive of athletics? Do they have football just to have football and raise money for their other athletic programs, or do they actually care about football? Or if you're going in to interview for a basketball job or a baseball job, this doesn't matter. This applies to all head coaching positions. Do they just want you to run a team out there? What are their expectations? Do they expect you to win? Do they expect, are you going to get fired if you don't win games? Or do they just expect you to run a glorified AAU rec ball team? And that's important to know, because if that's the case, there's no sense in you blowing your head up every day trying to run things like Kirby Smart and Nick Saban and them do if they really don't care. Why would you do that? Why would you give yourself undue stress if all you got to do is maintain? Well, I'm going to stay true to myself. That's fine. You still can without killing yourself. It ain't worth it. Do what you got to do. Win your games. Get out. They replaced Nick Saban within 48 hours. They don't care about you. They will replace you. They had a dude before you. They will have a guy after you. Trust me. If they want you to run a Mickey Mouse rec ball team and they don't care about winning, about what it really takes to compete, there is no sense on God's green earth for you to bang your head against the wall and stress. You love on those kids. You do the best you can for them, but you go home at a reasonable hour and you spend time with your people. You spend time with you, because there's no sense in it. None. You got to choose wisely. Now, on the flip side, you go in somewhere and they sit down and say, look here, we're going to give you all these resources. We're going to put all these kids in weight training. We're going to get them where you want them. We're going to give you these coaches. We're going to give you these facilities. Doggone it, we're going to make this investment and we expect you to win. Well, then you better get after it, because they have set the expectation. Now, how did you figure all this out? Well, you figured it out because you prepared. You did your research. You networked. You asked folks. You knew going in what you had to do. That's what you did. That's what you did ahead of time. You put in that work. So you got to choose wisely. What do you want? And if you're a young coach, you can afford a situation that's not as good as if it doesn't turn out all right, it's okay. You can survive, baby. You can go back and be a coordinator. You're young. You can try again later. But if you're an older dude, you're 35 plus, and you pick a bad one and it don't go well, and you sit there for 3 years and you go 7-23, hey, you're probably not gonna get another one. Things go bad, you might not get another head coaching job. See, that's the problem. That's why you got to choose wisely. Because if you want to do it again and you choose a bad one, you might not get another opportunity. And if you want to keep doing this, if you want to keep being a head coach, you got to make sure that first one works out. And you got to take these things into consideration. And there's a lot of things sometimes that's outside of your control. There's nothing you could have done about it. You may have done as good as you could do. That's all you can do. Sometimes that's all you can do is all you can do. I mean, it's cliche, it sounds crazy, but I mean, this is a fact. And at the end of the day, if you feel like that you did all you could, you loved on the kids, you did the best you could for those kids with what you had, then that's all you could do. Everybody's not going to be able to go somewhere and win. I don't care how good a ball coach you are. If you ain't got no players and you don't have the support, you ain't going to win. Period. You better hope you catch it at the right time. That's why some people they know. They go in, it looks like they are the magical formula. They've done their research. They know they have a group coming. They go in, they win with that group. Everybody's like, oh, this is the greatest high school coach in the history of ever. And then they leave. Well, why did they leave? Well, they left for a reason, because they're not stupid. They ain't got no more players. They would still be there if they thought they could still win. This ain't hard. This ain't rocket science. Well, why did he leave there and go wherever? Because they ain't gonna be good no more. And he can't afford to dip. He's not gonna listen to the community carry on and bang on his head about all of a sudden you ain't winning no games. I promise you he didn't do anything different. I promise you his staff didn't work any less than they did before. What changed? Well, the common denominator was this. Well, no, we're not allowed to stand up there and say, well, the problem is the players ain't no good. And we can't say that publicly. Well, they're sending us the best they got. Yes, they are. Our job is to make them better. Well, there's a limit. You can only make them so much better. And you see all these gurus and all these, oh, I can do this. No, don't tell me you can't do this because I did this here. And whatever. And on this Twitter coach, oh, yeah, I can show you 10 ways of how I wrote this book. And I got this group that was so bad and they were so terrible. And we got them up here. And next thing you know, we won a state championship with these. Man, get out of my face. Pile your butt up and go to, I can name 10, 12, 15 places right now. You take your program, your little whatever down there and run that stuff, and you'll be on the first hot thing smoking in 3 weeks out of there. In 3 years. Not saying it didn't work where you were at, but come on, man.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You ain't fooling nobody. And y'all know where I'm talking about. Y'all know some of these places. Crap, some of us have been at these places. Looking around like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. We'd love to do that. But yeah, can't do that here. But, more power to you. But the bottom line is you got to choose wisely when you pick one of these jobs. Now, once you have decided that you are going after this job and you've done your research, you've chosen wisely, you think it's time to amass the troops, you're going to have to find some people to go with you when you go in here, because you can't go in somewhere by yourself. You got to have at least one, preferably 3, but you got to at least have one. And, it depends on the size of the school and the size of the program and things like that, but you got to at least have one, ride or die, that no matter what happens, this guy's got your back. Because most of these places, especially if it's your first opportunity, when you go in, you're going to go in and you're not going to be able to bring anybody with you. Or if you do, you're going to be able to bring one. So you're going to have to mass the troops. Who do you know that can come with you? This goes back to networking. This goes back to who do you know? Who have you coached with? Who do you trust? Who's your boy? Who's the guy you always talk to, text with, cut up with, hang out with at the clinic? Who do you know will pile up and go with you to the east end of BFE to go coach this merry band of misfits that you are now the head coach of? Where'd you get these people from? You got to pile them up. You got to go find them. You got to amass the troops. And you better make sure they all ain't certified in PE, because you're probably going to inherit a staff. They're probably going to say, well, Coach, we got Coach Smith over here. He's been here for 25 years, and we're going to let him stay. And sure, it'd be good if you could keep him on the staff and find something for him to do. Well, you better have done your research. Did Coach Smith get passed over for the head coaching job and he's butthurt because he didn't get to be the head coach? Because if he did, he's probably going to spend the whole amount of time he's got making your life miserable in the community, behind your back, in the school, doing everything he can to undermine everything you do. And you don't even know the guy. You didn't even do anything to him. It's just because, it happens. It's a fact. That's just the way things go. People are people. and they can't help it. They get butt hurt, things happen, move on. And you're not going to have the authority to get rid of them. You might be able to not make them coach. They're still going to be in that building. They're still going to have a better relationship with their kids than you did because they've been there. How are you going to deal with that? Well, you better figure it out. That's why your number one thing when you go looking for a match that proves his loyalty. I don't care how much things have changed. I don't care how many years go by. The number one thing that you need in assistant coaches is loyalty. And that doesn't mean you can't point out, hey, man, that's wrong. Or, hey, I don't agree with what we're doing. No, it's at the end of the day when all the smoke clears, they still got your back. They're still going to ride with you. They're still going to pile up and go. I mean, I've worked for head coaches that I don't agree with everything they say. I don't like everything they do. But at the end of the day, I ain't going to let you say nothing about them. You know, I might get my tail tore up, but I'm going to fight you for them. If we out somewhere and they say circle up, I'm going to be in the circle. You know, I'm going to take up for them. I ain't going to let nobody say nothing bad about them. I'm going to say what I got to say. And, you know, that's what you got to have. And when you're choosing your staff, you got to have people that are going to work hard. You know, you got to have people that are going to work hard because there's going to be a lot of things that as a head coach you can't do. I've had to point this out. The older I get, it's easier to point out. It's not so much that people actually listen when I tell them, which is fine. But, you try to tell younger coaches, look, there's some things that a head coach and only the head coach can do. Only he can do it. The rest of us can't do it. He's the only one that can do what he's doing. We can do all this other stuff. We need to take care of that so that he can do head coaching stuff. For example, you're coming off of the practice field. The head coach has to deal with a disgruntled parent or an injured child, and the parent wants to know what happened or what are we going to do? What's his therapy going to be? It might not even be disgruntled. It may be a parent just wants to talk to the head coach. Well, you can get the kids in the field house. You can get the kids dressed. You can get the field house cleaned up. You can get the laundry going. You can get everything cleaned up. You can get them out of the building and combed. You can get everything like it's supposed to be. Everybody in their places for the meetings that need to go on. Don't sit around and wait for him to do that. He don't need to do any of that. He's out there dealing with mama or daddy. You don't want to do that. If you got a brain in your head when you see that person walking up, as soon as they say, hey, coach, you say, hold on just a second. You're looking for that man over there. And that's what you do. That's a head coach problem. Let him deal with that. There are other things that we can do. But you got to work hard. You got to find guys that are going to work hard for you, that are going to work hard, that are going to do, if they see something needs to be done, they're going to do it. And they'll ask for forgiveness later. You see something needs to be done, do it. Don't just do it. If it's wrong, you'll correct it as the head coach. You just tell them, hey, man, I appreciate that you took the initiative to do this, but hey, how about next time let's do, blah, 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 blah. I appreciate that you took the initiative to do this. And make sure you do that. Point out the fact, hey, man, good job. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate y'all coming here and getting stuff taken care of while I was getting out there getting blowtorched by Ray Ray's mama because he only had, 37 carries last night. Because, he's got to deal with that. But when you're a head coach and you're looking for assistance, that's what you got to do. So now you go into the interview process. And I think this is one thing that has helped me more in any kind of job I've ever interviewed for. And it goes back to, I interviewed for an academic scholarship in college. And I figured out then, at 18 years old, 19 years old, that, you're interviewing them. Don't let them interview you. You are interviewing them. You are trying to be a head coach. You go in there and you run the interview. How do you do this? Again, with research. networking, research, choosing wisely, all of those things. Did you do your proper research? Is it a one-on-one interview? Those don't happen very often anymore. Used to, you just sit down with superintendent or the principal, they'd interview, they'd bring in the next guy. Oh no, we can't do that anymore. We got to have committees because we got to we got to let people have some kind of say. And, basically what that is, well, if this don't go good, it ain't my fault. We're going to have no accountability. We're not going to take responsibility for making a bad hire, or if they lose and the community gets mad, well, y'all picked him. Y'all are the ones that decided you wanted to have him. I didn't pick him. So you used to not have that. Because you used to have ex-coaches were administrators. And they knew accountability. And they let the hide go with the hair and they said, you know what, I'm going to make the choice. And if it's good, good. If it's bad, well, oh well, it was bad. Y'all want to fire me, fire me. I was looking for a job when I found this one. Not so much anymore. But when you go in, you're interviewing them. You're fixing to pile up your whole family, all your worldly possessions, your sweet, darling baby child and his mama, and move to somewhere you ain't never been before. You better be interviewing them. You better be asking them what they can do for you. What are they going to do? Because hopefully you're going to spend the rest of your career there. That's what you should be trying to do. That's what I'd be trying to do. Of course, I'm a little bit closer to the end than others. But you need to go in there with the mindset, I'm going here and I'm not going anywhere else. That should be the dream. And if it's not somewhere that you can visualize yourself going there and not going anywhere else, don't go there. Don't even go interview there. Why bother? What's the point? You're just going to sit there and lie to them. But you're interviewing them. Find out what they're going to do. If you didn't, whatever information you couldn't glean, whatever you couldn't gather from your sources, whatever you couldn't get during your research, you need to try to find out during the interview. Run the interview. Run the interview. Decide when you go in ahead of time. Find out, is this a committee interview? How many people are on the committee? How many people are going to be in the interview? When you go in, you got to decide, are you going to do a presentation or are you going to shoot from the hip? And this is how you can interview them. You find out how many people are on the committee. You could do a PowerPoint, Google Slides, presentation. You could put your, I suggest you do that, or at least you put your packet together. You find out how many people are on the interview committee and you make that many booklets for everybody and you pass them out because you're running the class, you're running the interview. You are basically answering within your packet, within your presentation, any question that they may have. It also allows during the interview process of a committee, those people that really don't want to pay any attention to what you have going on, they have something to read and look at. And they can look through there and do whatever, and they're not going to, you may be the first guy, you may be the 8th guy out of 10, and you may be the 3rd guy in a day. They have other jobs too. They may be tired. They don't want to sit in there and listen to whatever you're going to tell them. Give them something to look at. Give them some book to look at. It's like giving a kid a coloring book. They can flip through the pages and look through there, and you're going to figure it out real quick who's running the interview in there. There's going to be a dog in there. Find a dog. Could be a female dog, could be a male dog, but there's going to be a dog on the committee. Ain't going to be hard to find. Once you find the dog, don't fool with none of the rest of them. Talk to the dog. Address everything to the dog. Smile at the dog. Wave at the dog. Throw a bone at the dog. Talk to the dog. Don't worry about none of them other people because they ain't doing nothing. They just there. But there's going to be a dog in there. Find a dog. Talk to the dog. And if you have won a ring somewhere, I don't care if it was as a player. I don't care wherever. Wear them. If you got 8, wear 8. and talk with your hands. Just wave your hands all around and watch them bob their heads up and down it's fantastic. It's funny. It's fun. It's fun to do. It's funny to watch. But do that. Run the interview. You're interviewing them. So if you're not going to do a presentation, you may just shoot from the hip. Just shoot from the hip. It's more authentic. As those of you that actually know me know, I generally do presentations because that's what I say is the best thing to do. However, those of you that actually know me know that I'm quite capable of shooting from the hip. Not a problem. Mind thinks fast enough, actually faster than my mouth outshoots my brain a lot, which is painfully apparent on at least every other day basis. But shooting from the hip is not a problem for some people. If you've done it enough, you got a good idea what they're going to ask you. It's like, I don't even know. I think it's Harrison right now doing an interview. Had 150 applicants. They sent out a 16-question questionnaire just to try to weed some people out. Interviewing 6, I think, 8. They might send you a questionnaire that you got to fill out and send it back in. So, and they may require that you fill out. You think that people are going to read? You got 150 applicants. You think they're going to read 15 times 60? 16? 150 times 16? Is that 300 times 8? That's a lot. 2,400 questions they're going to ask? No, I don't think so. They ain't reading all them answers. Because some people just ain't going to do it. They're like, oh, never mind. I'm not going to turn this back in. You're interviewing them. And if you want to shoot from the hip, shoot from the hip. But you might not be given that option, is what I'm saying. That might not be something that you can do. Because they may just come in and say, hey, man, this is what we got. We're asking these stock questions to everybody. And there's going to be rounds. You're going to have round 1, and then, we're going to bring 3 back. And then, the final interview and all sorts of stuff. They pretty much know. I mean, they got a pretty good idea. Usually they have an idea when they go in. And don't get butthurt if you don't get the job. If they don't call you back, or if at any time during the proceedings things don't go well, don't get butthurt. Think of it as an opportunity. Get your name out there. Go interview. I'd apply for every job that came open if I was 30 years old and wanted to be a head coach. You start getting your name out there, and people start going, hey, he wouldn't have fit here, but y'all might want to take a look at this guy. This kid's going to be all right. He wouldn't have fit for us, but y'all might want to look at him. He's got his stuff together. He's pretty sharp. He just wasn't quite what we were looking for. Get your name out there, but you can't get butthurt about it. You can't get on social media and put people on blast because you didn't get, they picked this guy. You can't be that way. Don't be that guy, because then you get blacklisted and you can't get a job. You just gotta, let it go. Move on to the next opportunity. Think of it as an opportunity. That's what it is. It's a chance to get better. Shoot, sometimes I used to go interview at places just because I wanted to see what they had. Hey, man, what y'all got? Can we go on a tour of the school? Coach, we're not hiring you. Yeah, I don't care. I just want to see your weight room. I just want to see your gym. I've never been here before. I just want to see the place. And then they look at you crazy, which is fine. I get that a lot. That's not a problem. But, again, interviewing them. I just want to see, take some interest. Then I could tell other people, hey, man, they got a nice weight room. Hey, man, they got a nice gym. Their facilities are great. You can spread the word. Be positive. Or, tell the truth. Man, that place, I don't know. You got work to do there. But you can't come out of there with your feelings hurt. You can't get butt hurt because you didn't get your way. That things didn't quite go like you wanted it. You didn't get the job, or you got passed over. You can't shine your tail because you never know. God might not make it all the way through. You were number 2, and they come to you. Guy gets there, doesn't work out. After 1 year, they call you back. Hey, are you still interested? We want to give you the job. You impressed us last year. We bring you back in. You never know. And always remember, You're always 2 men in a truck away from a better situation. If you don't like how things are going, you can get a U-Haul, a yellow truck, or 2 men in a truck and get to a better situation at all times, whether it's a head coaching situation or it's assistant coach situation. Either way, if you think somewhere else, as Coach Ben Scott, they tell me, I wasn't there, but they said that at a clinic years ago, he stood up and said, how many of y'all are tired of getting your heads caved in about a team across town or a team, let's say Blue High School down here. They got better players. They win every year. They're in your region. They keep winning. You're sick and tired of it. And, people raise their hands and yelled at. Well, move there. Go there. Go to where they're at. You're always 2 men in a truck away from a better situation. You don't like where you are. You don't like the way things are being done. Leave. Pack up. Go somewhere else. You can't be afraid to move. And as Dr. Ahmad Tinker says, always bet on yourself. Now, I hope today that helped some of you. I hope that gave you a little groundwork, a little foundation of some things to think about when you go into a head coaching search situation. It's still early. Here in into January, there'll be more jobs coming open here in the state of Georgia. I know there's a plethora of them open in Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee. There are jobs open in the Southeast, as there are all over the country, I'm sure. But if you have anything that you would like to know, ask, or any questions or concerns, reach out and let me know. I'd be glad to help anybody needs help. Also, look to Parker Resources. Coach Parker does a great job. He's probably got way better, he's got way better things to help you with that. But if I can help you in any way, feel free to reach out. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll holler at you later. Be good.
Bubba Wallace here from 2311 Racing. You know what's slower than a pace car? Waiting at the car wash. That's when I fire up Chumba Casino. It turns those slow minutes into fast fun. With new games every week, you'll never get bored. Next time you're stuck in the slow lane, speed up with Chumba. Play now at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at IPVanish.com/audio.